So, Game 7 between the Heat and the Celtics just wrapped up. The Celtics are moving on to the finals for the first time since 2010. And for the first time since 1987 or 1986, they're playing a team in the finals besides the Los Angeles Lakers. They're facing the Warriors for the first time since, I believe, 1964. Don't quote me on that. Instead of a static picture, I figured you guys might prefer something with a little more motion going on in the background while I talk about this, as opposed to just a still image. My voice should be coming in clearer on these videos as opposed to my playthrough videos, because my playthrough videos are live and these are post. So the computer has to dedicate resources to, recording live footage and my voice as opposed to just recording one of those things. But back to the actual finals at hand. It's Celtics versus Warriors. I mean, on one hand, you have the Jays with Tatum and Brown making their first finals appearances after losing in the Eastern Conference Finals together in 2020 and 2018, and in Jaylen Brown's case, 2017. And then on the Western Conference, I do have the Warriors, who, after 5 straight finals runs and just taking a beating from all those extra playoff games, became the only team who was eliminated before COVID. And then the following season, even though they had the 8th best record in the Western Conference, they ended up with a lottery pick because they lost 2 playing games to the Lakers and the Grizzlies. So that's how they ended up with Moody at 14 in that respective draft. And as for how they got Kuminga, well, they parlayed Durant into Wiggins and the pick that would become Kuminga from Minnesota. So I know that everybody's going to look at the matchup and see that the Warriors are once again in the finals and revert back to the attitudes of, 2016-17 and 2017-18, where they were overpowered. But that was because Durant was on the Warriors. A 73-win team adding Kevin Durant just wasn't fair. As opposed to this iteration of the Warriors resembles more their 2015 style in Kerr's first year, 67 and 15, all organic, all smart trades, all drafting and development. Particularly in the case of Wiggins, the development they've done with him has really been amazing. He's gone from looking like a near bust in Minnesota, certainly in a reach and an underachiever, to, the starting small forward of a finals team, and that's no mean feat. And of course, Wiggins' counterpart in the Celtics by default is Jason Tatum, and, well, the Celtics really should be thanking Billy King right about now. All those unprotected picks and swaps, you get Brown from an unprotected pick, you get Tatum from an unprotected swap to number 1 that you trade back to number 3 and pick up an extra first that ends up being 14 the following year. I mean, they just outsourced their tanking to Billy King's Brooklyn Nets. My initial thoughts for how the Celtics can win this series is that, well, there needs to be a strong cohesion in terms of team basketball. And the other thing that needs to happen is Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum need to be 2 of the 3 best players on the court. They need to be better than Thompson. They need to be better than Draymond. They need to be better than Wiggins. Because if you give Curry a wingman, where it's over. Curry will absolutely destroy you in that scenario. I remember, as a Pelicans fan, watching the matchup in 2018 between the Pelicans and the Warriors. And the Warriors won that series because they had 5 of the best 9 players. And that was a simple overpowerment. That's how the Warriors won that series in 5. The other component, or the other key component, I feel, is Marcus Smart. If he goes all wild in terms of chucking up shots, then that's just going to be a death sentence for Boston. Golden State is more than capable of punishing you in terms of mistakes out in transition and semi-transition and There's a reason Curry has the nicknames that he does from deep. That being said, if there is one consolation for the Celtics, it's that Curry, Clay, Draymond, and Iguodala are all 6 years older now than they were for that 73 win team. I mean, despite the best efforts of LeBron, as we've seen, time catches up to everybody. So, as for my final rudimentary prediction as it currently stands, I'm going to go Warriors in 6. I believe they'll take the first two in Golden State. I believe the two teams will split in Boston. I think Boston will, with everything on the line in Game 5, go into Chase Center and just out-hustle the Warriors. And then I think Golden State just goes into Boston and just finishes them off. So, yeah, put me down as Warriors in 6 unless something, crazy happens.